polling stations are meant to be free of party materials, beneath some ballot boxes in Tehran were hung posters printed by the Morals Committee of the Election Commission, which showed a photograph of Ahmadinejad in a field of red flowers, of course, the promise that, quote, another spring is waiting. The Supreme Leader has successfully and clearly shifted a competitive part of Iranian politics to the right, so that a form of democracy applies only to the fight between hardliners and moderate conservatives. Reformists remain marginalized, though they still vow to make an impact in Parliament. What does that mean for Ahmadinejad's run for the presidency next year? Probably next to nothing, because presidential politics in Iran are always more about personalities than about parties. And it seems clear that Ahmadinejad has already been engaged in his re-election campaign for 2.5 years as he makes trips to one provincial capital after another. He knows how to work a crowd, but not all the news is good. As of a few months ago, when I was in an eastern province during one of Ahmadinejad's trips, the populist president had already collected a total of 9 million letters, each with a personal request for help or a gripe. The president is on his second set of 30 trips now, dishing out cash, toys, and sending ministers to find, finance, and check up on scores of projects, large and small. Ahmadinejad may face severe criticism in Tehran, even for spending so much time on individual cases when strategic solutions, especially on the economy, are necessary. But out there, the attention is often welcome. In the provinces, television shows the president hobnobbing with the poor, speaking with them as one of them, and sitting reverently with the families of young men martyred in the Iran-Iraq War of the 1980s, another conservative base. I stepped into a sandwich shop in South Khorasan province and asked the owner about the president. Ahmadinejad, he enthused. He is the envoy of Imam Zaman. This is the Shiite Messiah and the 12th Imam that is meant to return and bring glory one day. But for the next sentence, the shop owner held his head in his hands. But I have so many problems, he said. Among them, a corrupt city council and no second loan to expand his shop. The key point, the man did not connect the president with his problems. He saw Ahmadinejad instead as trying to solve these problems, not the reason for them. On more recent trips, the president has come under fire from Iranians whose original request letters, they say, were not answered well enough. It is more than a year before the next presidential election in Iran, and politics are fluid. But one of Ahmadinejad's most popular lines, commitment to Iran's nuclear program, resonates far beyond hardline circles. Today, in fact, marks the second anniversary of his declaration that Iran had enriched uranium and joined, in his words, the nuclear club. And in fact, the announcement was that Iran will now be building 6,000 more centrifuges at Natanz to add to the 3,000 which are already complete there. Ahmadinejad vows that Iran will not retreat one iota from enrichment and claims that Iran's nuclear defiance has, quote, brought all big powers to their knees. If anyone else wins Iran's presidency next year, that rhetoric may be toned down or even repackaged, but the substance of Iran's nuclear program is not likely to change. On that note, and in keeping with the theme of this event, I would like to close with one comment on Iran and the controversial national intelligence estimate from last December. I think that despite the fiery rhetoric and defiance from the Islamic Republic, one of the most overlooked conclusions of that NIE report is one of the most accurate. Quote, Tehran's decisions are guided by a cost-benefit approach rather than a rush to a weapon, irrespective of the political, economic, and military costs. This, in turn, quoting the report again, suggests that some combination of threats of intensified international scrutiny and pressures, along with opportunities for Iran to achieve its security, prestige, and goals for regional influence in other ways might, if perceived by Iran's leaders as credible, prompt Tehran to extend the current halt to its nuclear weapons program. Thank you.